Well, hello, hello. Hello, my fellow sensitive people. It is I, your favorite Whimsy, here to deliver my remote views. Now, because people have asked me to do so, I've decided to focus on Putin's perspective. And as you know, I truly enjoy looking at Putin's perspective. One of the reasons I like looking at Putin's perspective is because it's very difficult for us to see through the eyes of somebody who is seen as an enemy, whether it's a personal enemy, an enemy of our country, you name it. But it takes a lot of skill. And in war, the ability to place yourself in the shoes of your enemy can be quite helpful, which is one of the reasons why remote viewers and oracles have traditionally been used in warfare. As I had said in previous remotes, when I put myself in the shoes of Vladimir Putin, I'm extremely angry because I feel like I lost everything. And rather than admit that I screwed up with the invasion of Ukraine, I have looked for other people to blame. You know, as Putin, I speak as Putin. Sometimes people get confused. But as a remote viewer who uses heart-centered remote viewing, I become the person, or to the best of my ability, I become the person that I'm attempting to remote view. So when I say I'm talking about me, Putin, right? As Putin. So what I feel as Putin is that I was living in a bubble of yes men whose job was to tell me everything I wanted to hear. And that's a security risk. Anytime you have a country or a company or anything for that matter, and you're living in a bubble of yes people, that's very dangerous. You need to be able to hear your critics for your own security and for the security of your country, your company, or whatever it is. Your critics are your best asset. You know, a lot of the time there are post on this channel that I don't post. I delete and I block certain people if they're belligerent, if they use foul language, or if they call me names. I'm not going to publish that. That's not helpful criticism, but periodically I get criticisms and attacks that force me to examine my own imperfections, and I hope that they make me a better reader, a more honest reader, and I hope it improves the quality of the channel so that everybody can enjoy the experience. That's healthy. You need to be able to hear the criticisms. And this is something that's very difficult for Donald Trump, and it's something that is extremely difficult, if not impossible, for Vladimir Putin. And so he surrounded himself with yes people, people that told him what he wanted to hear, told him that he was great, told him he was incredible, told him that he was wonderful, that invading Ukraine was a great idea and it was going to be great for Russia. And he hired people like Prigozhin, who told him it was great because he was getting $1 billion a year from the Russian government. And $1 billion in a country that has a GDP that's equivalent to Italy is really a lot of money. And then slowly it all fell apart. He did not win the war in Ukraine after a week, like Prigozhin had promised, like all of his friends had promised. And the generals, the people that were in charge, wound up getting killed. And then their people, the people that took over for those generals, were killed. And then those people's mentees, the people in line, they got killed until eventually what was left of the Russian army was criminals, derelicts, North Koreans, fighters that were willing to, soldiers of fortune, mercenaries that were willing to work for $200 a month, risk their life for $200 a month, killing Ukrainians. And so nothing that Putin thought was going to happen has happened. And so, of course, he blames NATO. He will blame everybody but himself, and he will look like Stalin, paranoid. He will look for people to blame, and he'll kill anybody that he suspects is to blame, like assassinating the person that was the head of the Department of Transportation, because he believed that there was somebody inside the Department of Transportation that was selling information about the movements of various different weapons, etc. Everyone is being blamed but Putin. Everybody is responsible but Putin. So when it comes to Putin's relationship with Trump, he wants to remind Trump of who he is, the promises that Trump made to him, the loyalty that Trump gave Putin. There is a loyalty there. What I've seen in the remotes is that in some way, Trump declared his loyalty to Russia and to the church. It feels like the kind of guilt you give somebody when they do not uphold their vows. That's the best way to describe how it feels as Putin when I'm talking to Trump. You made vows, you made promises. From Putin's perspective, he invested in people. He invested in Trump. He invested in certain people and he expects to get paid back. And now he feels betrayed. But part of that gentleman's agreement was that he had information against Trump, vital information against Trump. And as part of that agreement, you always have an insurance policy that the other person is going to do what you want them to do, or there will be consequences. Roger Stone was blackmailing people with little orgies. Epstein was blackmailing people with orgies and filming everything, which is now in the hands of the FBI and the US intelligence agencies. It's amazing how much information the US intelligence agencies have that they've chosen not to show the American people, knowing full well what dirt they have on Trump, knowing that he was part of Epstein's list and that most likely he had cut a deal with the feds in order to avoid prison, along with many other people. They let him walk into the White House. And so at some point, you have to hold the US intelligence agencies accountable for that. But from Putin's perspective, everything you're seeing now is revenge. It's the revenge of a desperate man who has run out of options, who does not want to take responsibility for the fact that he was surrounded with nothing but sycophants who told him what he wanted to hear because they were making a profit off of him. And now we find ourselves in a situation where it is obvious that Putin is losing the war. And so he is lashing out everywhere, including attacking NATO countries' targets, the US, Poland, now Germany. Let's go ahead and we'll do the empath prayer and we'll check on the cards of Vladimir Putin. Thank you for being here. And if you could subscribe, like, and share, and help me get to 100,000, I will do a little dance for you. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say Amen. And with Spirit's permission, we would like to access the records of Vladimir Putin and to try and find out what he plans on doing in the future and what is the future of Vladimir Putin and Russia. I use the cards to trigger me. You don't have to if you're a remote viewer. You can go without the cards. For a long time, I didn't use the cards, but I now find that they can be quite helpful. Took some adjusting. It's like, what the hell is that? I think a lot of readers don't need them. All right, where Putin is at right now from his perspective. The Queen of Swords puts the past behind her. She is a stoic queen. She is the seasoned queen. There is something going on right now where Putin is going to have to put the past behind him, and he is going to have to make a fresh start. His karma card is the King of Wands. Interesting that the King of Wands comes as his karma card, because the King of Wands can be an entrepreneur, but it's also Yehuda. It is sound judgment. I'm thinking that Putin is going to have to retire. The best way for him to win is to step down and to allow somebody else to come in and clean this mess up. And he can just declare that he's retiring. But he wanted revenge. He wanted revenge against Trump. He was going to show Trump, you screw me, I'll screw you. And part of the attacks we're seeing against the United States, against U.S. Targets, U.S. Companies, is really an act of that revenge. I feel like someone else is going to come in to rule Russia. 6 years of smooth waters and moving away from the situation. This is a desire for smooth waters, for peace, but it also indicates leaving things behind and the potential for a new contract. It's like that song, She's Only a Woman to Me. It's interesting also that he presents as the Queen of Swords. He isn't wrong. He merely changes his mind, right? I don't know what the exact lyrics are, but that's pretty much what's going on. We have a new contract here and we have smoother waters. It's this undeniable desire to end the war. We have this strong emperor coming in, which is reason and sanity. I don't think he can win this war. He doesn't think he can win this war. And ultimately, Russia is out of money. The ultimate problem here is that he doesn't have money. I'm having a hard time with my, can you guys see this? I guess not, because there's too much red. I wanted to show you the third house was the money. I guess I won't be able to show that today with this lighting. 9 of Swords, he's coming out of stressful period and he's entering into the sun. I think he's going to change his mind. I think he's going to change his mind. I think he wants to go to smoother waters. It's interesting that the sun is coming out into the 6th house. He's coming out of a tremendous amount of stress where he's at right now, offering peace. He keeps lowering the bar. Well, I'll just take Crimea. Well, I'll have to give up the Donbass. I really want the Donbass and Crimea. I really want to have control of that trade route. He has a desperate desire to get to peace, and Zelensky won't give it. Of course, he needs to get peace now. He needs to get peace now because he doesn't have any more money. All he can do is continue to throw what bombs he has left. 8 of Swords. He's hoping that Zelensky will be tied up financially. The truth of the matter is he's mad at NATO because he could have mopped up Ukraine a long time ago if NATO hadn't come in and helped. The hope and the fear, again, it's this desire for peace and a peace treaty that he's not getting. And the final outcome, 10 of Cups. He really believes that he's going to unify Russia. A new beginning is coming. Ukraine continues to be strong. The hope and the fear, 10 of Pentacles. He wanted to leave a legacy. In the end, he will be betrayed by his own people. This is a guy, Putin is a guy who's exhausted. He's a guy who's exhausted. He's a guy who has lost the war. He's a guy that, it's interesting, he's threatening Trump. And when I put myself in the shoes of Trump, Trump doesn't care anymore. I'm dying. I'm exhausted. I'm dying. I'm trying to enjoy what of my life I have left. I'm trying to get to heaven by, I want to build Oasis. in Gaza, that's not working out. You got to get to peace right away because they could drop dead before we get to the oasis. And then we're going to call it the Trump plan. And then we're going to build a beautiful oasis with a little Trump tower in the middle of the oasis. And there's going to be kumbaya. And then I'm going to win the Nobel Peace Prize, right? I'm going to broker a deal of peace. I want that Nobel Peace Prize as part of my legacy before I die. So Trump doesn't care. I'm dying. Who cares? Who cares what you have on me? Fake news. I'll just say it's fake news and AI. In plainer words, the frustration for Putin is that Trump doesn't care anymore. I used to care. I used to be afraid before I got bad news from my doctors, and they say I'm not doing so good. I got heart disease, probably had a heart attack and stents placed. I got something going on with that right leg. Like I'm hurting when I rub it against my pants because maybe a stent was placed by going through the femoral artery and it pinches and hurts like hell. I got edema. I got a lot going on. I've got signs of dementia. You think I give a damn that you got some pictures? Who the hell cares? Go and show them. I don't care anymore. I'm sick. That's how I feel as Trump. I'm sick. You understand? I don't care. Go ahead. Well, this is frustrating for Putin because now the person he's been trying to threaten, what, you're going to threaten me with death? Who cares? I'm trying to get to heaven, right? Let's take a look at Trump and Trump's health. Let's see if he can make a recovery. Or, maybe somebody can convince him to go plant-based. I'm not whole. We'll see. Let's take a look at Trump's response, and Trump's health. And thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for your love and support of this channel as we slowly make it to 100K. Can't believe we've come this far. Thank you for joining me on this journey. How is Trump doing? How's he doing with his health, Spirit? Talk to me about Trump. What's going on with him? With Spirit's permission, show us what's going on with Trump. Is he going to be okay? A new beginning. Magician. He has a strong constitution. A man with a weaker constitution would have died a long time ago. This is someone who had a past history of abusing his body with junk food. There's been rumors of drug abuse. This is somebody who believes he can lick this. This is someone who believes that he can pull it out of the water. There's a new beginning starting for him in the spring. Where he's at right now, he's fighting against multiple acts of attack. The Seven of Wands is a desire to defend oneself, to stand on the high road and try and protect yourself against potential attacks from the outside. And the crossing card is peace in the garden. This man could be desiring peace now. When we come to the end of our lives, we have to look back at the life we lived, the mistakes we made. Nobody's perfect. And to try and rectify those mistakes. I feel the energy of Melania when I go into Trump's energy. Not because I care about this person and not because I treated them well and not because we're even together, but I think about her a lot. I'm thinking about her a lot. Maybe because for Trump, she was comfort. She was a comfort to him. He's aware that his time is running out. You can see the Wheel of Fortune stands in his fourth house, which would indicate that the clock is ticking. But more than that, the Wheel of Fortune is about karma. It's that wheel of karma of what goes around, comes around. It's interesting to see the images, the book of life. You know, you think about Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year's, which is coming up, I believe, sometime next month. Is that correct? We think about who by water, who by fire, who will die this year, who will make it. The wheel of time keeps churning, and everything you do is recorded. And there's an account and a reckoning for everything, every action we take. These are the things that are on his mind. What he sits in, his international partnerships, the contracts and the agreements that he made with certain people, what really mattered in life, his codependencies, his addictions, his sexual addictions, his money addictions. This was a hedonist. This was someone who lived a hedonistic life, and he lived for his own pleasure. You know, it's interesting that he thinks he's going to go to hell. Perhaps he feels that he already has spent time with the devil, with Epstein, with other corrupt business people, corrupt dealings, robbing, stealing, conniving, raping. It's in his past, and karma is coming to get him and leads to the future of just fairness. Who will receive mercy and who will not? This is the purpose of the Six of Pentacles. You can see the balance of the scales. One person receives mercy, one does not. He is very aware of the fact that he has done bad things. The devil sits in his past. The wheel of fortune sits in his fourth house. What is over his head? What is emerging? And this awareness that for every action, there is a reaction of equal or greater force. Where he's at right now, as Putin, he must put the past behind him and go forward into the unknown. And his opposition is dancing. It's as if he believes that they are coming for him and that they will dance on his grave. All the people he has hurt, particularly women. Now that he himself is vulnerable, he's beginning to think about the vulnerabilities of others when he was strong and healthy, and when he raped and assaulted and mutilated people for his own pleasure, because he could. And now he is the vulnerable one. He is the one that is too weak to fight back. He is the one where others are kicking him and dancing on his corpse, so to speak. So he is very aware of the fact that his enemy is rejoicing, the hope and the fear that he will have to leave it all. The Eight of Cups is to walk away from everything that you've built and go into the unknown. There's a part of him that's kind of wispy about it. He will lose everything. He has poverty in his future and abandonment. You did not treat your family right. You did not treat your friends right. You did not treat your wives right. And so consequently, when you are most vulnerable, they will turn their back on you. You're trying to get into the church, but the door is locked. There's no easy way to repentance other than to admit to what you have done, give an account and a reckoning for what you have done, get clean and sober, and whenever possible, make amends and attempt to correct the damage. That is where Trump is at. The clarification over him is the business of Washington. He must accept the fact that he is simply too ill to oversee the business of Washington. There is something greater than Trump. There is something much greater than Trump, and that something is the earth itself, Gaia, and the power of women. A woman could be raped here and there. It's very common because there are a lot of awful people in this world, right? They can be sold, they can be enslaved, they can be genitally assaulted and mutilated. Not that this guy cared. He participated. He thought it was great. But what he didn't understand and what he underestimated was that all of his victims were far more powerful than he will ever be. And so consequently, they now take the lead. And he is crumbling to the weak, pathetic person that he always was. He's also crumbling mentally. This is the dementia card. It's the person that lives in delusions and illusions, howling at the moon, the smoke of opium around him, living in a dream world. And the final outcome for Trump, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance will be the next president of the United States. People have said that J.D. Vance won't be because he's under investigation and that something magical is going to happen and that there's going to be some cosmic rabbit pulled out of a hat and that somehow we're going to keep him from being the next president. But I'm sorry to say that's simply not how Washington, D.C. works. The VP will be the next president of the United States, and Donald Trump will likely step down in the next 3 to 4 months. The division between Trump and Vance is growing, and that's because the sharks smell blood in the water. The sharks being those people who want power and those people who want to be close to power in DC. And so consequently, they're going to do everything in their power to be in the good graces of somebody who they think is going to be the next president of the United States. If they feel that Trump is too sick to continue, they will begin to take out their knives and begin to go after him while simultaneously kissing the tuchus of J.D. Vance. And so we can expect civil war to begin to happen relatively soon between the Trump cabinet and J.D. Vance's cabinet. Expect to see civil war there and expect to see slowly people in Trump's cabinet turning on Trump and pushing for Article 25 if he doesn't leave so that they can get into the good graces of J.D. Vance, who I can say with pretty strong confidence is going to be our next president. And I think this could happen as soon as within 3 to 4 months. All right. I want to thank you for watching this quick video. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all that information below this video. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.